So you went 7 years from 2007 to 2014 without a red month.
Yeah.
It's incredible, no?
From my point of view, more important is to have second window of time and sales in which I put only prints in which there is 1,000 shares or more at specific level. So I mostly watch how many buy or sell prints are being done at specific levels at 0, 0, 0.25, half dollar, 0.75. So at psychological level, and it gives me an information whether there is still, for example, buying in the stock, or whether it will be a pullback, whether it will move higher, things like that. Depends on how much buying or how much selling I see on each level.
Welcome back to Trade the Advantage podcast. Today we welcome Tomek, a full-time trader since 2007, the year of the first iPhone. Also the year that Netflix was mailing its own DVDs. So a very, very long time. Tomek's been trading in a prop firm originally, and then he's gone on to launch his own and become a leader in the Polish trading community and beyond, with an upcoming event, which we're going to touch on in a little bit. But hopefully today what I want to break down is how Tomek has stayed in the game this long, key lessons learned, and hopefully towards the end, we're going to break down Tomek's strategy and a couple of his charts. First of all, Tomek, pleasure. Met you in Dubai. How are you?
Yeah, hello. Nice to meet you again. Thanks for having me. It was great to meet you finally in Dubai and talk about our story back.
So it's fantastic to get me and Tomek have crossed circles for the last 4 or 5 years, and the trading community is small. It's actually much more small than you think. And out of nowhere, just to fill in the story, Tomek came up to me and went, I'm the guy who was talking to you on X about X, Y, and Z. And I was like, wow, there you go. So small world. But so in terms of, but for you, Tomek, you started trading in 2007, right as the financial crisis hit.
Yes.
But like, what drew you to trading? How did you get into it?
Actually, I have started trading in 2003 or 4, but it was mostly Forex and Warsaw Stock Exchange. So but in 2007, I have noticed an advertisement on the some blog in Poland about a prop trading group which was called Swift Trade. It was a proprietary group from Canada that has an office in near to my city where I study. So I have decided to check them, to start trading with them. It was hard to find any information about them on the internet in the past, but I just call them, send them my CV, and they send email back that I will have an interview. So we spent like few hours talking about trading, about all different things related to trading and not only. And then in the second part of 2007, I start, trading with them. So back then, I had no idea how big the financial crisis is. We just trade every day, without any knowledge that it's like history has happened that we'll read years later after about that, or we'll watch some movies about the financial crisis. But also, I would add some more because probably in 2007 and 8, the crisis mostly hit U.S. stock market and U.S. economy. It was not the same in Europe. So maybe we didn't feel it the same way like people from United States.
But like, I'm really curious because you'll know a bit of my story, and you know the story of a lot of traders around Europe. They'll learn online. They'll see an ad by a teacher. They'll buy a course, and they'll just sit and learn by themselves. You've gone a different route. You've gone the prop trading route. So how long did it take you to learn? When did it click? Who taught you? All of these questions.
Okay, so when we started trading, my group there was like 10 traders who want to become a trader in the Swift Trade. The first month we spent mostly, getting to know how the platform works, how to check, how stocks behave, and I on the first day I wasn't smoking cigarettes, but I noticed that the best traders are going on a cigarette, so I start going with them and asking them multiple questions how they trade. And I have noticed that most of them trade very strange strategy for me, because probably as most traders nowadays, they just notice stocks that move up, move down, stocks that are very volatile. But all these guys, they trade stocks that were at takeovers. So they trade in between 1-2 cents ticks. They do like tons of volume in 1 cent, and they just put long, short at the same price all day long, doing like few 100,000 of shares or few millions shares per day, and just earning money from adding liquidity to the market. So they get in 2007, 2006, 2005, Nasdaq Stock Exchange paid much more for adding liquidity than it is now. It was even $5-6 per 1,000 shares. So if you open 1,000 shares and close it with adding liquidity, you get $10-12. If you do that with 100,000 shares or 1 million shares, the amount was much bigger. So they do like few grants or 20, 50, 100K per month just by doing adding liquidity to the market. So that was interesting, but at the same time, I thought that it's not for me. I want to trade stocks that move much more. So I started just by checking all the charts. Back then, it was not a lot of tools that we have now. There was no, for example, trade ideas, scans, tools that can find some alerts or situation that happened on the stock. So I do it manually each day. I came back home after the market closed, and I spent 2-3 hours more just to check how stocks move. And the next day, I put like 300 orders on different stocks, on, for example, using support line, resistance line, trying to this way. And somehow, after 3 months, I get the level, they call it, to become a trader, you need to bank $2,000 per month. So I achieved this level at my third month, and I started getting payout from the company. And most of traders that join Swiss Trade with me, they did the same in the second or 6 months of trading. So that was, it gives you a great attitude. The atmosphere was great, because if you see a lot of successful traders all around, that push you to trade harder and harder. So that was the beginning.
But I mean, that's incredible. So you got profitable within 3 months of joining the prop firm. If you hadn't have had the support of those 10 other people when you started, do you still think you would have made it as a trader?
It's very hard to say, because somehow you trade with many people. Even now, for example, I know many people all around that trade with me for several years, or I know traders online that I trade with. But it's still, if you are not able to adapt, I think no one will help you. It's very supportive to have other people around you that you can discuss things like that, but the biggest issue probably we will have with your psychology and some mental attitude, if especially after a long red streak on the market. So it's very easy to lost your it's very hard to build the trust of the pattern that you trade. but you can lose it very quickly after many big losses, or it don't need to be a big loss, but very small losses, but occur for several or more days. So that's the hardest part. But actually, the funny thing is that when I started in 2007, me and my friends, we for next like 7 years we have no months on red. That's the funniest part. So we were very stable as a traders. Maybe the numbers weren't so so big. It wasn't millions, but we are very stable traders. And probably my first red month was in 2014 or 2015, something like that.
Wow,
But
really?
it was but it was also a time when I decided that I don't want to trade as a scalper anymore. I want to switch to something else.
So you went 7 years from 2007 to 2014 without a red month?
Yeah.
It's incredible, no? And this is
it was of course a month that the amount was a little bit above zero, but it was still green. But but we were taught to have a very strict risk management when we trade in a prop trading, in a swift trade. So maybe that's the reason that it was possible to happen.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get to. Like, who taught you? So you were a scalper. I presume you learned how to scalp, and that's what I've heard from other people as well. So you were scalping. Who taught you to scalp? Who taught you risk management? Was that in that firm?
Yes, and the risk management was. It was not that it was someone show me how to manage the risk of my trades, but the platform that we have been using back then, it was Prosper Pro, a very old platform. When I switched to Sterling, it was like getting a new Ferrari. But the platform has something that was called as daily stop loss, or loss from top, the second part. So stop loss was like, for example, when I started, my daily stop loss was probably $50. If I reach the level, my platform doesn't allow me to trade anymore. But I was able to watch the chart. So there was days that I, after 1 minute after market open, I was closed. But I spent the next hours just watching the charts and learning what's going on. Many people just get stop loss and they go home, but I decided no, I wanna learn something. But the second thing, much better in my opinion, especially for people who overtrade or for people that do a lot of revenge trading, was a loss from top. So just imagine you are for example, you are doing $1,000 per day, and when you are down 25% of the amount from your top, so when you decrease the amount to 750, the platform will stop you from doing more trades.
Wow, really? Okay.
And at the beginning, it was great, because in many cases, I think I will do a lot of revenge trading, and it helps you to still stay green on the day. So that was cool. And also, what I've noticed now, many traders who start trading, even with a small performance bond or small deposit, they do all in one position. So they trade 5,000, 10,000 shares, things like that. We have started with 100 shares. And it depends on your progress. If you are green on a week, they allow you to trade 200 shares. If then next week you do good, you were green 5 days, they increase the number to 300. And the same was with stop loss. If you have a progress with your results, so for example, stop loss moved from $50 to 75, or 75 to 100, 100 to 200. Suddenly, if the market change and you do one loss, second loss, the stop loss was calculated again, and for example, your stop loss was not $200, but it drops to 125. So it tries to check all your results from last 2 weeks, and based on that, show you what is the average daily stop loss that you should have. Otherwise, if you do it like, for example, if you during 1 month you have 4 sessions on red and the rest is green, you will be still in great, green plus. Otherwise, if it's not the red day, for example, if you are doing 1,000 per day, but you allowed 4 times a month to be minus 5K per day, it doesn't make sense. If you allow to be, for example, $500 on minus 4 times per month, with your average of $1,000 plus in your green day, that makes sense. So we, since the time I left the Swift trade in 2011, I just I was working very very well to have a good calculation of my daily stop loss, which it happens a few times to lost much more than I should, but still it happened very rarely. So the platform told me how to put the daily stop loss, about all things related to risk management.
No, because I think with trading, the barrier to entry is ridiculously low. Anyone can do it. But
yes.
And the thing with trading is your brain wants to do the opposite of what you should do. So that institutional level training that you've had for all of those years is give your brain and body a chance to rewire the correct way. So you didn't come in and just do a load of crazy things like everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's
Exactly.
like it trained you, right? But what was there? I mean, you had a fantastic start. Green month after month after month. But was there ever a time you thought, I can't do this? Ever in your career, was there ever a time, can't do this?
Yeah, yes. There was a time that I switched from micro scalping or scalping to different way of trading, and I started trading small caps, so pump and dumps. It was in 2015, and I also switched to trading bounces on stocks that move down a lot, and also trying to short big caps on extended when the chart is very extended on daily. And it was very hard for me because I was profitable with micro scalping, but it was it's like when you want to change your job because you have enough of this job. It was the same with me trading. I was not happy with trading anymore. It was like you are depressed because of trading. So I told my wife, I need to change something, or I will just quit trading, even though I'm profitable with, but I'm just not happy with that anymore. So I started trading a different way. I made a lot of steps back because, for example, during this time I was trading, average of my trade was like 5 or 10,000 shares. But when I start trading pump and dumps, I moved the number to 100 shares. So it was like starting trading from scratch.
Yeah.
And I spent around 1.5 years to become profitable with this new approach, and that was the biggest, especially with my mentality. It was the biggest issue. But what helps me was that my wife. It was that was also because my wife was very supportive, and one day she bought me a ticket to United States, and she told me go on the conference Traders for a Cause. So
beautiful.
Yeah. So I met there a lot of great traders. I've noticed, much different. I have noticed their point of view. I met, for example, I have no idea who this guy is. It was a Monaco trader. I'm not sure if you know him.
Monaco.
I was I was sitting with him talking, and from time to time people would come do a photo with him. I said, "Who are you?" But so because of that, I met also different traders there, and I see how they trade. I see that they've got, for example, trading, but they reinvest the money on properties, on different things like that. So I started when I come back and I said to my wife, I will not rent an office anymore. I will buy some place and I will go there. So I started doing the things that maybe I didn't learn anything new on the conference, but I learned something new from different fields, from business point of view, I would say. So that helps me, for example, for for the next few years. I reinvested a lot of money that I earned from trading in properties in some different businesses. So it changed. It made a huge change to my decision process, whether I need to trade or I don't need to trade. So because of different revenue that you earn from properties, from business, I was able to not focus on the money that I will get from trading. I had the possibility to wait, to be much more patient, to wait for the market that I want to trade. So that helps me in the period of time in which the market hurts. The market was very slow, the volume was very slow, and that's it. I think so. Basically, meeting new people with different approach, with different attitude, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it's funny. It reminds me, I interviewed our friend David Hale, who's a fellow Englishman, a guy who I really, really, really enjoyed talking to. Really, really liked the guy. Yeah. And he'll be at the conference, which we'll get onto, that you're working on. But he was saying sometimes it's just about being fortunate enough to have enough money to be at the right time, at the right market, at the right year, and you can make a lot of money. Yes. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like your approach is more scalping, taking money out of the market year after year?
No, I would say probably COVID time. So 2020, 2021, it's the best answer for that. If you will be frustrated after, for example, 2017, 18, 19, doing a lot of stupid trades, probably you will not have a clear head, clear mind to take advantage of the market that COVID gave us in 2020, 2021. And for probably most of the traders that I know, it was like a life-changing time because the amount of patterns of stocks that you can trade each day from early pre-market to late post-market was just, mind-blowing. So it was the time that exactly what Dave said. If you are, you've got enough money to be on the market during, for example, COVID, that was just great.
I mean, if you could freeze one moment of your trading career in the last 17 years or however many years and think, this is why I do trading, what would it be?
It's hard to say. It's one thing is the financial part of trading, which gives somehow freedom. But the second part is that after so many years, I'm doing things that I really love, even though I have a time that I was exhausted with trading. But it gives you. For me, trading gives me a lot of time that, for example, currently I can spend more with kids, with family, without any issue. Because you are not stick to 9 to 4 job, so to the normal job. So probably that's not the best answer. But it gives a freedom and great finance. That's for sure.
But it's the most honest though. And interesting question for you. Fast, rapid answer. First thought that comes to your head. Why do you make it in trading when most don't?
I think hardworking.
That's it.
It's like yeah.
It's you'll do what others won't. Is there?
I decided when I decided to start trading, I was really working hard on that. I spent like 8-9 hours in the office, and after that I came back home. I spent 1.5 hour in bus. I was at almost at midnight at home, and I spent 2-3 hours more to check charts to prepare for the next day, and I did it for many months. So, and in each when each market shifts, I also spend a lot of time adapting to new situation. I'm able to notice that the market is changing after 2-3 sessions, and I'm trying to adapt to it. Many years ago, it took me like 3 months to decide, okay, Tomek, the market has changed. You need to change also the way you trade. So I think hardworking. I think many traders that I admire, they would say the same. So doing recap, working on your trades, that makes a big difference when you compare to other, because there is like a great and big amount of people who try to be a trader, but getting successful, it took a little luck, but a lot of hard work.
But is it literally just looking at every single stock that has volatility in the market, looking at the specific patterns that you trade, and then looking at your own trades in relation to those specific patterns again and again and again and again?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. For me, that's it. But also, I just, for example, notice the changing in the flow on the time and sells, and then start shorting the stock. So it's just like normal adapting to the new condition on the market. So that's all, in my opinion. If you are doing something that for example, I put a lot of charts on my computer. Probably after each market session, I do a screenshot of the charts that I trade, but not also on the chart, from the charts and the stocks that I don't trade, but I noticed that I should trade it. And many years ago, I spent a lot of time recording sessions. So I spent a lot of time checking the time and sales window, checking prints, so things related to tape reading. And tape reading gives me a lot of edge on the market.
No, it's interesting. Makes a lot of sense. I think it's ultimately just putting the reps in, putting the work in, and doing the same thing over and over, and doing what others won't, I guess. And remote day trading group. So this is your group. It's built a strong reputation in Poland and now expanding. So what's the vision behind that? What do you want to do with that, and what have you been trying to do with that?
It was firstly I started the group because I wanna just left the group that I cooperate with earlier. But like 5 traders maybe back then joined me with my group, and I just earn nothing from that. Every traders get the same payout that I have, the same commission. So our goal was just to start trading on our own, and that's all. But after like 2 years, I started doing a conference in Poland, and I noticed that there is still a lot of traders all around trading on their own with different Swift, with different prop groups, and they start asking me, "What about if we want to join you?" So that's the way I start cooperating with Zimtra, with Adam, to allow them to do that with me, with Polish support, with Polish team behind that. So yeah, it started like that, and I was the only probably person in 2012, 2011 in Poland who was blogging about trading on US stock market. So probably that makes a big difference. Now, because of that, people in Poland know me. So
yeah, no, and it's interesting because Zimtra was always known as a prop firm, a group service, a company that provided services to groups, and now it's kind of known as a company that provides services to traders. more these days. But so what I didn't really even know. I thought prop firms were these dodgy, sketchy things. I didn't realize that like prop firms are a legitimate, solid way to be educated, to grow, and to be funded. Because you know you'll see some prop firms with with education and gimmicks and leaderboards. What's your thoughts on that, and like how do you fight that negative attention?
Funny thing is that in Poland we have, maybe in the industry of people who I know who trade U.S. stock market in Poland, most of these guys have no idea about these scammy prop firms that you are talking about. But because if you are maybe for newbies, for people who just want to start, it's hard to compare offers. They might choose some scammy prop firms. But if someone is on the market for many years, so this kind of trader just compare the offer, how they support trader, commission, all the payout structure, things like that, and know exactly that it's a legit firm or scammy firm. If, for example, someone is paying you just for bringing traders.
What would you say the advantages and compared to the disadvantages are for going for a prop firm versus going for like a broker?
Okay, so I would say that it has changed a lot in last 10 years. Maybe because of the how many brokers are now who offers also a great deal for day trading. But first thing, when you compare prop firms to a broker, it's a level of commission. I would say that make a huge difference, especially if you are doing a big volume. I would say if you are doing 1, 2, 5, 10 millions per month of shares, volume of shares, then if you will pay, for example, 50 cents per 1,000, and if you compare it to, I know, $2, $3, $4, $5, or $6 per 1,000 shares, that's a huge difference. It can be a lot of thousands per month that you can have in your pocket when you compare, for example, trading with a prop firm. Also, there is a no minimum of shares. You can trade few shares or 100 shares, and you will pay for the amount that you trade with no minimum. Like, for example, many brokers have, like, you can trade 100 shares, but the minimum is like $3. So for traders who are new and want to trade with smaller size, it's the amount of money that they will pay for commission will be much bigger. Locates, it's also a thing that, especially if you trade the small caps, it's a very important thing. So nowadays, if I compare, for example, Zimtra to different brokers that I also have an account with, so especially in pre-market, Zimtra is just amazing when I compare locates. During market hours, it's getting similar. And support. I think what I noticed when I was trading in Swift Trade many years ago, it was like, if you have an issue, doesn't matter whether it was a very small issue or bigger issue, there was like several people just trying to help you at the same moment. If, for example, you trade for bigger brokers, you can be on the line for many minutes, or 1 hour, or 2 hours, or in the QA in the chat from Nasdaq point of view, from NYSE, from ICC point of view. You are treated as a professional trader, so you pay higher fees for quotes.
Yeah.
If you trade with a normal broker, you pay as a non-professional, so it's like 10% of what professional pays. So that's the biggest difference. But at the same time, if you are doing around 100, 200 shares per month, you will pay much less commission with prop firm. So even though you pay bigger amount for quotes, you save money on the commission. So it will be probably the same. Yeah, but if you are when you start doing much bigger a much bigger volume per month, it doesn't matter whether you are non-pro or pro.
Yeah, and just the last thing on Zimtra, because I know that they're sponsoring an upcoming event that you have. How have you managed to have this relation? You've had a relationship with Zimtra going back years, no? It's like, how many years have you been working with Zimtra, and how did the relationship? How's it lasting so long? What's the combination there?
The funniest thing is that I started with Zimtra in 2011 or 12, something like that. It was when I had my first conference in Poland. That was just unbelievable thing that happened, because I got a message from Steve Sierszulski. He was the CEO of Sterling Traders, so the platform probably everyone knows. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but he was a great guy. Since the year I met him, he was on each conference that I have. He was a sponsor. He came to Poland, and one day when the company that I cooperate with collapsed, I sent him a message that I'm looking for a new company that I can trust, and he sent me the contact details to Adam Lambert from Zimtra. And the same day he called Adam and said that one guy from Poland will be calling you. Treat him well, give him great deal. And when I met Adam, he told me that they were shocked because for them it was the first time the owner of the CEO of Sterling Trader called them directly and say hello and said there will be Tomek calling you. So that's the way we started. And because I trust Steve, I met him and that was a great guy. I know that if he recommends someone to me, it for sure will be also a guy that I can trust. So I met with Adam. We switched all group to Zimtra. And since then, Adam was probably every year on my conference. Then I came to Cayman Island twice, probably, finally to also visit them. And we became great friends. So now I know most of the probably management and the company, and we have great relationship. It's a long-term relationships, very very loyal. And what can I say more? You met Adam. It's a great guy. Goldie is a great guy, and whole team, Ian, Shalen, and Max. So people who are just doing all the stuff that as a traders we don't see. They are just great.
So obviously with the prop firms, you get the locates and the commissions, and it's the competitiveness, but it's also the loyalty and the trust, which is not so easy to find in this industry sometimes.
Yeah, especially many years ago when there was a lot of small brokers that collapsed, like Sure Trader, companies like that. So yeah, it's great to have company that you can trust, and you know that your money is safe. They will be tomorrow and the next year, and they've got a very very long term perspective of cooperation.
So with the day trader event, do you want to tell us? It's been gone. Has it been on 6? Took a break for 6 years, and now it's coming back. Why is it coming back now? And tell us a bit about it. Is the tickets?
Yeah, there are still. We have additional tickets for the conference because it was sold out in the first 3 days. So that was huge for me, especially after 6 years of break. And the last time I did it was in 2019. We were planning to do it in 2020, but then COVID hit, and traveling there was an issue with traveling, with doing conferences, things like that. So I decided to stop it. And then we have a hot market, so I wasn't even able to spend time for preparing the conference. And in 2023, I think. Yeah, it was 23. I came to another time to the Traders Forecast conference in Vegas, and after that I said, okay, I'm ready to do the next conference in Poland. Last year I was in Madrid. This year in Dubai for the Zimtra conference, and I decided okay, guys, we after so many years we can do it again in Poland. So I'm happy. There will be probably at this moment it's like around 70 people who has signed up for the conference. We have still like 2 months more because it will be between 24th and 25th of May, so still a lot of time. Going to be fantastic, I think.
Nice, and then it's not just you there. Obviously, I think it's your event, but you'll have the legend of David Hale there talking about his trading strategy. There's one other guy.
We know with David. Yeah, we know with David for many years because we met in Poland in one of the conference. He was like big guy from Texas. He came at the first moment. I said I understand nothing of what he's saying. He was speaking so so quickly, but he is a great guy. We talk a lot. He's also brother and friends in Texas who has a great office. I through him I met a lot of great traders from Wrocław. He will come. He will do one panel. There also will be a friend of mine, Piotr Habina. I know with him since I would say 2008 or 2009. So we trade for several years together, many years in the same office. And then he moved to other city, but we are still trading on. We have a room on Discord in which we talk every day about stocks that we are going to trade. So that's cool. There will be Eduardo Edu Trades.
Yeah.
So one of traders that I think I can say I can trust. It's when you spend with some traders few hours just talking about trading, you know exactly what he's doing. So that's cool that he's coming. I like him very much. So it's great. He will also probably talk a lot about trading small caps, but in different way that I've been doing. And for sure will be Adam and Costa from Zimtra from Links Technologies. So they will also talk about the company, about changes that they have. So that's the plan.